the prolific author and evangelist Matthew Kelly. I'm sure many of you have read some of his books and know about him. The Best Lent Ever, that fella. He wrote a book back in 2022 entitled Difficult Teachings, the 40 Most Challenging Teachings of Jesus. Well, I looked through it, sure that I would find today's reading in there, but I didn't. So I imagine Matthew is writing volume 2, because this has to be in it. You know, I don't know about you, but I imagine Jesus as this peaceful guy, forgiving, healing, consoling, touching people, teaching people, but just a figure of peace and compassion. Even if the crowds were longer than you can imagine and he was dead on his feet from exhaustion, he stayed there. That's how I imagine him, at least in my primary mode. But Jesus also had this very challenging side to him, and we see that today. And yet, my primary image of him is a caring, centered, loving person. And I imagine if he looked me in the eyes, or if he looked you in the eyes, what we would see is someone who knows us to the core and loves us anyway, no matter what he finds there. Just loves us totally. So doesn't this gospel set you back on your heels just a little bit? I mean, this is not the image that we normally have. The Prince of Peace is demanding fire on the earth. Can't wait for it to get started. You know, fires are destructive. So how do we put this passage together with the Jesus maybe that we would prefer to hear, the one who came to reconcile us to the Father, to bring us all into his heavenly kingdom, who's already got a place prepared for us there? How do we reconcile these different aspects of Jesus? Is he contradicting himself? I don't think so. But certainly he's challenging us. We see this uncompromising part of him today, this desire that nothing is going to stop him. He'll do whatever he can, including shedding his blood and giving his life, to bring us in reconciliation with his Father, to bring each of us to heaven, to share his peace, his glory forever. And yet, we have this nasty habit as human beings of putting something else at the center of our lives. Over and over and over again, we do it. Going back to the ancient Jews, remember when Moses had just come down from the mountain. He had just received the 10 Commandments, and he was looking forward to sharing them with all the people. And what are they doing? Well, they got tired of waiting for him, so they constructed this golden calf, and they're worshiping this golden calf. And here he's going to teach them, the first commandment is, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have strange gods before me. I can't imagine how Moses must have felt. Well, that's when he threw the commandments to the ground and broke them. So, and it's not just the ancient Jews that went for strange gods. Every single age of humanity, up till now, including us, have plenty of strange gods. Ours might be a little bit different. Things like money, security, health, possessions, power, ambition, pride, pleasure. From time to time, all these things and many more occupy the place in you and me that ought to be reserved for God. All you have to do is look at the front page of the newspaper any day of the week, and you'll see there evidence of the strange gods that we worship. Power, pleasure, the money, all of it. It's right there. But Jesus is telling us in this reading, in no uncertain terms, God has to come first. Every other thing that you think is worthwhile and valuable is going to pass away. All going to turn to dust. Only God and the things of heaven are going to stay. So make those the center of your life. Don't waste your time with all this other stuff. And he doesn't sugarcoat it. He says, look, it's going to bring about division. It's going to bring about arguments or confrontations. So be it. And I remember in our family, sometimes we would have conversations. Is it going to be Mass today or is it going to be the soccer game? Well, fortunately, Mass won, but there was a conflict there for a while. And the kids weren't always happy. If we have a day off, are we going to go to the beach? Or are we going to maybe visit a holy place or a shrine? If we have an evening free, are we going to go as a family to volunteer at a soup kitchen? Or instead watch a movie? Those choices are there all the time. And the basic question they're asking is, what's at the center of our family life? Who's really there or what's really there? So there's lots of competition for this central place. And a good rule is the things we care about the most are the things we spend the most time doing. Maybe it's our job. Maybe it's buying things. Maybe it's investing. Maybe it's our kids' games. Social media. For me, the golf course. I always got to watch that one. Reading too many books. There is such a thing as too much. Now, by themselves, none of these things are bad. They only become a problem when they're in the center, the place where God ought to be. And maybe you're wondering, well, I'm not really sure what's the most important. Well, then take it to prayer. And maybe it'll awaken your conscience and you'll get those little reminders, those little annoying voices, or that annoying voice, that'll remind you when something is at the center that maybe oughtn't to be there. As I was writing this homily, I was thinking about the Pharisee and the tax collector. Pharisee, that proud guy, so proud of himself, all the ways he kept the law, fasted, he was so devout. He was just the best prayer in the world, wasn't he? Outwardly, it looked like he was maybe thanking God, but the truth of the matter was he was at the center of his own life. He was praising himself for being so wonderful. But who does Jesus admire? That lowly tax collector standing off in the corner, so humble he couldn't even raise his eyes to heaven. Lord, I'm just a sinner. That's all I am, but I'm here. Jesus prefers humility every time. But that's why he talks about lighting a fire. I think, fires get our attention. Fires make us realize that we don't have forever. It's time to make a choice. And choices are difficult. But time's a wasting, and we might not have tomorrow. Some of you may know this Bob Dylan song. Bob Dylan, this great songwriter, and I believe prophet, who wrote a song called Gotta Serve Somebody. Anybody know that one? Some of the lyrics go, you might be a rock and roll addict prancing on the stage. You might have drugs at your command, women in a cage. You may be a businessman or some high-degree thief. They may call you doctor. They may call you chief. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed. It may be the devil, or it may be the Lord, but you got to serve somebody. So I think what Jesus is asking, if you boil it down, is who are you going to serve? Who's at the center? What is your primary relationship? And that choice we make determines everything. So at the end of the day, may we embrace our Jesus, who is kind, forgiving, and humble, but who also has his uncompromising and demanding side. He's telling us there shall be no false gods for you, only the one God. So today may we hear Jesus' strong voice and follow him, choosing to serve him above all others. And this little prayer, which I'm going to close with, came from morning prayer this morning, from the Liturgy of the Hours. May we love you in all things and above all things, and reach the joy you have prepared for us beyond all our imaginings. Amen.